Hello.
Hey, Jay. Do you have any topics for today?
My speaker were messed up, so if you said
Oh,
something.
yeah. I said, did you have any topics for today?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did. I already added them to the agenda. I had one more actually.
Oh, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. So the VAP operation proposal, I'll ping Rita to like get her thoughts. I know you already egged the proposal, but there is one more thing that I need your opinion on, which is let me see. Yeah, so right now, like in proposal, we are thinking about limiting the operations in VAP uh, to whatever operations are allowed through the webhook configuration, right? Now, the open question is basically, do we also limit the Cube API surface area? Meaning, for example, if the webhook configuration is not configured to match against pod, do we n- still create VAP to match against everything, or like restrict? Because or at least like binding, do we restrict it in terms of whatever is allowed in the webhook configuration? Because even with the constraints created for the pod, if the pod is not actually if the match policy in the webhook does not include pod, then the constraint is basically a no, like just audit.
Yeah. What is the question?
So the question is, so we are already talking about like limiting VAP um, to whatever operations are there in the webhook. Do we also limit the VAP to the match rules of the webhook? Basically, that's the question.
Oh, I see. I see. I see.
Because like we directly translate whatever there is in the constraint
Right.
template
Right.
to the
Yeah.
web, right? And so like potentially web can have better, like bigger scope of enforcement than constraint template.
Maybe add this to the doc
What
as
do you
like
mean?
for future work. Does that make sense?
Okay, so
Like, what do we want to expand this for future to match everything?
oh, okay, so right now, like
So we'll start with operations, and then we can expand to the match criteria. What are some examples for that one?
I mean, this is just the API server thing, right? Like if webhook, like gatekeeper's webhook is, for example, configured to omit namespace requests, but
Right.
like you can create a constraint template and constraint combination to enforce rules on namespace, even though
Right.
it will be just no op, right? But if somebody creates a VAP from it, then that scenario changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I just feel like that's a good point. I don't know the answer, but that's a good point too. Because now we're seeing like the like whatever gatekeeper configuration also dictates the web configuration.
yeah, yeah, like it's
Yeah, that's yeah. Hmm. Yeah, let's discuss this. I think I this is yeah definitely an interesting one. And I think it would be good to align all of these things so they're not like, oh, okay, this one is, we restricted this one but not the other thing. Yeah,
yeah, it could lead to like confusing behavior. Either
yeah,
we
that's
don't
right.
restrict or restrict like 100%. That's the
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, add to the doc. Let's review that too. I guess this can be a follow-up one. Because we already have the VAP stuff and we're not restricting it.
yeah, but I mean, then there should be a beta blocker at the very least because once we go beta, we can't restrict.
Yeah.
It's added for an like as an open question um, in the
Beta blocker for what? The VAP generation?
or at least like oh I guess GA blocker we are already
Yeah, I
beta.
think it's already beta, right? Yeah.
Yeah, then I think like we
Yeah.
can't change it.
Yeah, let's discuss this one. Yeah, that's kind of a weird. Oh, Rita just joined.
Hello.
Did you hear what Jay was saying, Rita?
No.
How rude.
Well, no, I just joined.
Yeah, I think he just.
Yeah, I think I already talked to you about this in the chat. But this is basically, do we restrict the VAP match criteria to the webhook one in terms of like what resources are
Ah,
matched?
right.
Uh, and the tricky part is we already said that the VAP generation thing is in beta. So if we restrict now, then we will be breaking some
Yeah.
user.
Yeah.
And I think I said I will comment in the PR, right?
Uh,
Like my concern is backward compatibility. Are we
yeah,
talking about the same thing?
yeah.
Okay.
I think there's no PR though. There's a doc.
Wait, are we talking about the same thing? Hmm.
We're talking about the web operations doc.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for some reason I thought someone is working on that, right? And
Yeah, like there is a PR up,
the
but they are
PR,
waiting
right?
for the design to be finalized before
Yeah.
working on it. So we
Right,
have
right.
to, and so this is one of the open question.
Right. Okay. That's why I said I have my concerns about backward compatibility, especially around like audit. Um, but anyway, I can comment. I'll look for your comment and follow up.
Um, yeah, I think we talked about audit, but I forgot about it. Can you remind me once more? I understood at that point, but I still
You
forgot.
mean what the concern was?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so basically, um, like current constraint template constraint, it it, it doesn't look at what webhook config validating webhook config you has for resources, right? So whatever's in the validating webhook config resources, that's what gets passed through, right?
For web.
For gatekeeper, like gatekeeper webhook,
Yeah.
right? And that's why VAP doesn't also don't look at resources because that's like like constraint template constraint, they don't understand resources. Or we don't restrict resources. We just take whatever the validating webhook says.
Yeah, but we match constraint with like there is a kind like match criteria for constraint, right? Where it will actually match the kind of the resource and then generate the violation.
Yeah, if the user did that, but it's not required. First of all, it's not required.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Secondly, let's say the user did that, right? But if the validating webhook config happen to examine those resources, like it doesn't really matter. What my point is with the gatekeeper webhook, validating webhook config always has like the first line of defense, sort of. Like if it examines things or include things, that's what the CT and constraint will use, right? Unless you restrict it down to match kind, as you said,
Yeah.
right?
So is there a concern if like let's say webhook is configured to be matched against end resources? Somebody creates a constraint template and we create a web from that constraint template, but now the like matching resource is not in pair with the webhook. Like is there a concern around that? Do we think it's concern?
Yeah, and my concern is backward compatibility, right? Because again, like the way you write your constraint templates today, you you may not have like you may not even have to think about resources, right? But now you're saying we will generate VAP um, based on validating webhook config resources, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Right. And I think what I was trying to identify is I think that today that works fine for admission. Like whatever validating webhook config says, that's what is being used, right? But audit, I don't think audit looks at that at all. So unless you have match kind, it will literally just look at all the resources, right? So from that perspective, like if you okay, I guess like if you do, I guess the equivalent of VAP is the webhook config in some sense. So I guess audit is just like it on its own.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
audit is separate from this because there's no audit in VAP anyway.
Mm, right, unless you have match kind, I guess. Yeah. But the problem is it is exemption. Like in validating webhook config, you can exempt certain resources, right? But so I guess I want to make sure when we talk about resources and we want to mirror that to VAP, are we talking about exemption as well?
Yeah, that's the tricky.
Yeah, so actually let
The,
me
the,
put
the
this in the
scope
meeting notes.
is like increasing because it's basically what K8s supports today and future. Um,
Yeah, I just put this in the meeting notes.
how is audits part of this? That part I didn't get.
No, I was just pointing out audit is different. Like since audit doesn't look at validating webhook config,
Right.
right? It just does whatever the constraint template constraint says.
Yes.
I'm just pointing out that's how it works today, right? And so if we want to say for VAP, if we want to do a mirror of gatekeeper webhook, then I guess it makes sense to take whatever is in validating webhook config, right? But that's again not just the resources, but also the exemptions. I think you guys only talk
Oh,
about
I see.
resources.
I see what you're saying. So,
Yeah,
like, say kube system is exempt using the validating webhook config. Do
Yeah.
we want to use that exemption in audit too?
Well, now you're talking about namespace exemption.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean,
not the
any
audit.
sort of
But
exemption. I'd
but
say like
same,
Any
yeah,
labeling,
everything
whatever.
in, I mean, you
Right.
bring up a good point. Like
Yeah.
literally everything in the validating webhook config,
Yeah. Right. Right.
it's
But it gets
has
very
to be
confusing.
100%.
Yeah.
which is quite large.
But we never did that before, right? Like,
You don't do that because you're a webhook and the webhook listens to validating webhook config anyway. So you don't need to think about it.
but audit is not validating webhook.
Well, that's why I said today it's already not consistent.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I'm
I'm just pointing out that for Gatekeeper today, we
right.
don't look at the validating webhook config. Like we don't like try to replicate anything because that is the authority anyway. That's the
Right.
authoritative source anyway. Like you're
Yeah.
already using it basically.
But
Right. I
I
mean,
feel
we
like
have our own exclusions for things like audit, I guess.
Sorry, you were gonna say something, Jay?
I'm just thinking that this could lead to a scenario where some unique exceptions are configured through webhook, but users of the policy migrate to web and now they are uh, like denying resources that shouldn't be denied or enforcing validations on resources that shouldn't be enforced.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So so from that perspective, what we have today, there is a feature gap or feature parity. Yeah, that's a good point. Um, has anyone else raised this before, or this is the first time?
Nobody else has raised it.
I don't remember this yet.
Okay.
I don't think people think about it in that way, like because webhook and audit are separate things. Um,
Oh no, I wasn't talking about audit. I was talking
oh,
about VAP, but
yeah.
it's also maybe just VAP is still new. That's why we're not. I'm guessing the people are slowly moving over, right?
Yeah.
So now might be a good time to address those. I'm just looking at all the knobs on validating webhook config. I mean, you're literally, I guess, like you would have to mirror all of that.
Yeah. Is it always one to one? Jade, have you looked into that one?
I don't think it is one to one.
So something in webhook may not exist in web config?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean the way so far we have gotten around it was to like use cell expression in the and inject cell expression through gatekeepers code when we generate VAP, right, Rita? Like I in the make VAP object I see some rules and something that is being set on VAP of resources that we create.
So we might need to do a table that maps uh, validating webhook config and VAP like APIs
Yeah.
so that
Homework.
But then I also don't want to boil the ocean too much. Um,
Yeah.
well, the conversation started as resources, right?
Yeah.
Um, so maybe we just look at resources. But yeah, for sure the exam stuff will come up, I think.
This will also be a breaking change. If
For
I mean, it's already too late, I guess.
for VAB, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were to do it later on, yeah, it's kind of a weird spot.
Well, maybe we could do feature gate first. Right? We'll do
Yeah, but we
feature.
can never remove the future gate, right?
You can. Well, feature gate means you're introducing new like potentially breaking changes and people can opt in first and then you make it opt out and then you remove the feature gate. This is how Kubernetes does it.
But if somebody were to update,
Like for example, going from version X to X plus one,
right?
or sorry, N to N plus one, if you are worried about this, you don't opt in, right? So there's zero impact on your policy, right? And then slowly you update your policy to uh
But at some point there will be a breaking change when you remove the future gate, no?
yeah, but that's why you do it across multiple releases, right? So you give people warning basically. It is still a breaking change, but depending on how many version are like do you need to go back. This is why we say don't like go into like N plus three in
Yeah.
one go, right?
But I think it required one revision, right? So I mean, so say you didn't had it opt in, nobody opted in. They didn't release the release note. They don't know about this thing, right? And then the next release, say we did all we could to get this out. We did release notes, whatever. They didn't read any of that. They updated it. Then
Sure.
we changed the behavior. Then they're going to be broken. Doesn't matter how many releases, no?
Yeah, but that's a change in behavior from N to N plus two. N to N minus one, sorry, N to N plus one, there's no breaking change, right?
But at some point, it's going to be n to n plus one, right? Say we did this in three releases, right? They didn't look at anything during those releases. The
Right.
last release before we made that change, they updated from that release to the other one, and then they're going to be broken.
I mean, yeah, but again, this is why you say you roll it out slowly, right? Like you give the user an opportunity to opt in and then opt out. So,
Yeah,
but if they don't read the release notes and they
yeah,
don't, I mean, to your point, yes, like between the releases where you make it a opt out, that's yes, it is a breaking change
right. It
behavior.
doesn't matter if it's 10 releases.
It
It's just
doesn't matter,
yeah,
but the way you do it is like you slowly make
right.
it happen,
Yeah.
right? I mean, again, at some point, if they don't read, then
I mean, it's kind of like the same way, right? Kubernetes removes some APIs. If you were using that API, then you might get broken.
I think there is a scenario where people even don't notice, like some users don't even notice, just so that we are just thinking about this after a while. There could be like some people that they just don't notice the change also. So the next step is for me to like build a table around what is possible, like what is one-to-one matching for matching criteria and exclusion criteria for webhook and PAP, and how can we achieve the missing ones, basically, right?
yeah. Um, so that pretty much means today, like without this feature, right? Like VAP is probably getting more, potentially more hits because it doesn't take into resources into consideration, right? Okay. but could it be used to bypass gatekeeper webhook policies?
What do you mean?
Um, bypass.
And it either has to deny a request in order for it to bypass. Like it's if VAP allows a request, it's gonna come through
Right, right,
gatekeeper anyways.
right. Like if we were if the situation were other way around, let's say validating webhook config allow like says all resources, and then your VAP says only look at say certain resources, then that's a way to bypass. But now I think since we're saying validating webhook config is like the authoritative source, you can only, I guess like you can only like expand like it's we're expanding, but we're not like scoping it down. So from that perspective, we're not bypassing any policies. Anyway,
I'm, I'm sorry, can you repeat one more time?
yeah,
I
yeah,
lost you at the expanding part.
yeah. Yeah, this is complicated, but basically like today, since constraint template constraint, we don't ask users for resources. VAP is basically all or nothing. Yeah. So from that perspective, we're not scoping down. You know, we're either using what validating webhook config has, which is what the webhook does. Uh, anyway, yeah, I was just making sure it's not a way to bypass because that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad today in that it's like there's more requests that go to those VAP resources, I guess, or VAP controller, I should say.
So, but we do agree that we potentially want to make this change and change how VAP
Yeah,
is.
just to be consistent. I think that's a good idea. Well, yeah.
Okay.
What do you think, Sartaj?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Yeah, I mean, let's update the docs with these ones, and then let's think about it. I think I want to consider like the what are the total impact. Um,
Update the docs as in like our
yeah,
gatekeeper doc saying that VAP has potentially greater breadth of things.
I'm fine with the web operations doc too, but like yeah, I guess we should also add to like the website to call that out. So if you do the web gen, then you might be impacted for these reasons and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Boogie.
Uh, cool. To the next one. Yeah, so somebody basically raised this PR to support operations in the mutations that we have today. So, like apply mutations on only create or update or whatever. And the issue that they were facing was um, so they had resources running in the cluster already, and now they apply the mutation. Uh, but what happens is for the resources that are already in cluster on a reconciler request mutation, like on an update request or whatever, like mutation is updating the pod spec fields that shouldn't be updated, and then those requests are basically getting denied. Uh, and so they are facing this at large scale, and I'm wondering if like this is something that we want in the gatekeeper, or we should ask them to like recreate the resources for according to the policy standards. Or
I'm pretty sure this came up before. I feel like I've seen. Can you search?
okay.
Oh,
Oh yeah, mutate restrict policy to specific word, create or update. Issue number 2196.
okay, so I think we said a new field in mutation makes sense, right? And then what happened? Why did we not do it? Oh boy. Know that this feature exists in that. Yes, we do. Okay, so it was part of our milestone for a while. We wanted to work on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but so in the issue 2196, is the proposal is to add the new field, or oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's validating admission. Is there a comment saying, yeah, this is the solution we
I thought
agree?
I thought we said no, this is for mutation. 2196, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It says I think we said we would be okay with adding a new field to mutation, right? And see 18 thumbs up. So yeah, so I can definitely see like not specifying the operations, it would probably fire on anything and it could cause a lot of errors in the logs, probably.
What do you mean? It can fire on anything?
Like it will fire on any operation, right?
Yeah, yeah. Which is currently what's happening.
I know. I'm saying I can see why people
Ah,
want this. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
And I think I didn't really see any like pushbacks from anybody else.
Yeah. Okay, principles. Hi, Max was suggesting a solution where users can define like on create you apply this value and on update you apply this value, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess you could do with like two different mutators at the same time with operations.
Okay, anyway, do you have what you need for the
Yeah, I think like I just wanted to check if this is something we wrote in the gatekeeper mutator since for the longest like we were.
yeah, one thing I would ask is cross-link that issue
Yeah.
and then make sure is there a PR for this? Okay, yeah, make sure in the PR that you follow the recommendations that's listed in the issue. For example, on update, what should we use, object or all object, right? Just double check, make sure it's implemented per that issue.
Yeah.
Okay. And then once you're done, like tag us to review. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was just making a comment. Okay. And the last one I was thinking about like how can we get some data on if people are using the cell engine and actually starting to write cell policies through gatekeeper or not. Is there a better way to do it?
Which one are you looking at?
The third one, the third,
To get better data. Solution. Um, yeah, it's pretty hard. Because it's open source. There's no trace of who's using what. Um, we could ask like next time when the OPA project sends out a survey, one potential um I think GitHub issue is okay, but the problem is like I don't know who's willing to expose this information. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, since we don't have like a CLI or anything like that, I was thinking for like, say, for Copa, like put like some sort of survey at the end. But for Gatekeeper, this is there's no like there's no CLI. I mean, other than Gator.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, even if I mean Gator.
yeah, but I does Gator support cell? Yeah, it does support cell. Yeah, we could add that, but obviously not everybody uses Gator. So
Yeah, pretty hard.
this is the adoption question that I talked with
Yeah.
Rita.
Again, nobody can like there's plenty of people who don't want to tell you. And so whatever data you collect, is probably not inconclusive. So like, what good is that data is sort of,
I
Yeah.
was just wondering because like we are spending so much time in this like VIP area and everything. I was like,
I mean, one way that we could do is, I think, who did that? Kubre add like some sort of telemetry to collect stuff. Um,
yeah,
so I mean, I think that would be a good like source of stuff. Then we could exactly say, hey, these people are using Cell.
right.
how can we collect telemetry if somebody else is deploying the gatekeeper?
So the gatekeeper would have like a home, and then the installations would go
Okay.
home to say,
Yeah.
hey, I don't know, if I have 5 policies with Cell, or I have 5 policies with WebGen. That's the only definitive way.
Wouldn't that be like, I feel I'd be concerned if a product I'm using is talking to some service for
I
telemetry
mean,
out of my.
all of the products you use
I
uses
know, I know, but like
that.
this is something security related. Like there are isolated clusters
Yeah,
where
not to mention a lot of clusters will be locked down, so
yeah,
you wouldn't be able to reach out of your network
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean that then those are fine. I think that obviously there's always an opt-out flag, and obviously if the traffic is blocked, then you don't get that. But yeah, I mean, I think if you want usage, that would be the way we would go about it.
you said Cubre, right?
Yeah, which one was it that introduced it after thinking
I can
Kubernetes?
share the details later. I can grab the code for you later. Yeah.
Yeah,
But again, I don't know. I see pros and cons doing that. I just yeah. And I don't even know if immediately it's really gonna help us. That's another thing. You would yeah.
I mean it's definitely a controversial topic. But
Again, what's the goal here? Right? The goal is to figure out how many people are actually using it to help us prioritize the workload. Is that
yeah, I think it's extremely important. Like for if nobody's using a certain feature,
mm.
would it make
How
sense
about
to?
yeah.
Yeah.
How about let's just start small. Let's just put out a poll on Gatekeeper Slack, like the Gatekeeper channel. And like again, anonymous, right? We're just collecting the number. We're not asking who you are. I think the problem with like say GitHub issue is like you can see who clicked on it, right? But like say if it's a poll, you wouldn't know. Like all you get is a +1, right? So we could have something like I'm using Rego only, Cell only. I'm using both. Like so have three things and people can select all of them if they want, if it's applicable. And we'll just like and then once it's out, we can I don't know if a Slack is the right place to do it, but maybe something more accessible in case people don't have Slack, right? There's some users who are not on our Slack, right? So could we do like a public poll, and then just bro like broadcast with like on Twitter, LinkedIn, what have you, just to get some rough idea. Again, it's not going to be conclusive. We already know that, but it's better than nothing.
Okay.
And we can work with other open maintainer to see if there's some type of poll we can or survey that we could use, right? And so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. What do you
Yeah.
think?
If the response would be low, then that's going to look bad though.
But that's true of every survey. And you don't have to show the response, right? You can collect it. You can
Oh,
show it if you want to show it.
then we would probably think about like SurveyMonkey or some other sort of things instead of like I was
Whatever
thinking like
makes
it's like a Slack poll.
yeah, I was thinking about that at first, but again, not everyone's on Slack. No, nor do they have access to Slack. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's so it's harder to get their data, right? We want to make it stupid easy, right? You want to make it they can just click on it, select a button, done, right? That's otherwise no one's gonna fill it out. I hate service that like requires me to do stuff. It's like even if it's asking me to log in, no, I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, Jay, can you start a thread with the OPA maintainer and go from
Yeah.
there?
Yep. Cool. Sounds good. Uh,
Okay. Anything else?
I raised a couple of issues on library based on the Kubernetes changes that I noticed. I just want to make sure those issues make sense. Um, I wasn't hoping that we would go through the agenda and still have some time left. uh, so the issues are on library PR, on library 688 and 687. What do you think?
Are you talking about the library changes? This is the case 1.24 stuff, right?
Uh, no, no. I mean, yeah, I think we might need to add one more type of policy and then update the one with the apartment that we have uh, for 134 changes. I linked the issues in the gatekeepers meeting note.
Yeah, the gatekeeper library ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. uh, Yeah. What is? Do you have a question or? Sorry, I didn't understand this.
Just wanted to see if it makes sense or I'm overthinking stuff.
Oh, so I think for the first one, 688, we should categorize this. We have still not done that one. To put it on like the buckets, right? Today, I think everything is in one thing. We don't categorize it in the library. I think you can probably just give that to Copilot, and I think I'm sure it can do that one. So we should probably classify them. Um,
You mean like group them? Like,
yeah, like this is baseline, this is restricted and stuff.
right. I mean, I thought that was like a issue. Isn't there an issue for that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. We just never did that one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I
And
think
it will include for some of the fields it will include like creating multiple constraints, right? For example, if the policy is baseline, then you can't uh, have security context as undefined or
right.
so. Like how will we change? Is that gonna be UI change in the website?
Yeah. So I think we would need to create um like a see the policy. There's like a baseline. Here are all the baseline ones. Restricted, all the baseline ones. Like see here, whatever, and then all of the restricted ones. It's similar to the PSA, but no, sorry, PSS one. And then the one major difference is like for restricted, some of the constraints are like more specific than the baseline ones. So we'll need to have that for the restricted ones. There's going to be like, hey, use this constraint instead of this other thing. Yeah,
Okay.
it's mostly just a
Yeah.
website change.
Yeah. Okay. But it will be like we are fine having repetitive constraint templates in different sections of the website.
We don't have to repeat. Either we can like symlink or just say that hey, like add everything from baseline or whatever.
Okay.
Like similar to how pod security standards pages. And then I
Hmm.
think for this one, the first 688, that this is adding a new field, the host one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there'll be a new policy. Yeah, I think we should add it.
Good. Sounds good.
So I think this might be the first edition to because we all always we moved over the pod security standards, but I don't think we ever did any work for pod security standards. Yeah, so sorry, I did pod security PSP, pod security profile. Yeah. We did the pod security profile, but we never did anything specific to pod security standards.
Yeah. Yeah. There is an issue open for, or at least I remember bucketing the policies to baseline, restricted, and what's the third one? I forgot. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, and then for oh sorry, go ahead, Jay.
Oh no, I was thinking about the third one. It's privileged profile, baseline restrictive, privileged.
Yeah, yeah, privileges, I think there's no, it's just as is.
Yeah.
Um
Do you want to create a proposal for what the change might look like?
On the website.
Yeah, I mean, is it just the website change, or could it also be like, say, if I say, hey, apply all the policies that's baseline? Like, is there a way to do that?
I think it will most likely be could be added to Gator. Uh,
Added to data?
Gator, like if
Okay.
you can run like Gator apply baseline, then it will just fetch policies. Uh, but I don't know if like Gate Git Git cluster might not have that internet availability to fetch the policies. So, or it could be baked into the Gator binary itself, the constraint templates, and
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Like we can embed that into the
yeah.
Gator. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. Explain what you mean, just so I know we're talking about the same thing.
So we'd have constraint template and constraint baked into the binary of Gator. And if somebody runs a command saying
Ah,
Gator apply baseline, then
I see.
we'll just apply those constraints to.
It's kind of like a mini policy, basically. Like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a bundle or like a
Yeah, we
what
have
is
an issue for this one in Gatekeeper. I think like call it Gator Sync or
Gator
something like
sync.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gator sync.
yeah,
Yeah, I can create a design for this.
yeah, yeah. It's more about like prioritization, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I was looking into like agentic workflows today. I'm trying some out, so I'll raise PRs for whatever I find useful. Hopefully that can help me reduce some of my maintenance burdens. So
mm,
uh,
are we still on track for release? The current milestone?
current milestone has a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
So
I don't think the way we do milestone is very realistic.
yeah, we need to rethink about it.
Wait, what do
Uh,
you the current milestone is okay, October 15th.
Yeah, there's like 19 open things. There's just zero chance we we can do this. So I think we just keep like piling on from milestone to milestone. It's just and then it just kind of compounds. Uh,
Well, let's re-evaluate 321 and move things that we don't think is possible.
yeah,
We're like a month away, right? Less
yeah,
than a month because of RCs, right?
yeah.
right.
So which one do you feel like it's realistic? And then move everything else to the next
So
milestone.
that's the thing that we cannot move. That's like if because we're gonna have the same conversation in the next milestone.
Well, I mean, the idea is that you actually finish the things in the current milestone, so
Right.
next time you wouldn't talk about the same thing again, right?
But then if say we have like 19 things, right? And then we did like three of them, right? And then we have like, I don't know, like 16 things. We
Mm.
add 16 things to the next milestone. We're gonna have the same conversation in
Well, no,
320.
that's why you have new milestones, right? So 322, if you can't get it done in 322, like let's create 323 and then move those to
Right.
323.
But I think that the moving of the stuff is not very realistic because we just keep have to move it, right? Instead of
Well, what do
saying
you
like,
suggest?
so like I think maybe we can be more like scoped, say like, hey, we are doing these three things, and then those things must be done. So we drive those to completion instead of having 20 things and then okay, some of
Well,
them are
that's
done.
why I said let's only pick the ones we think we can do this milestone,
Right.
and move everything to a future milestone.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the next milestone.
Oh yeah, we can do like a V next one or something like that, and then just pile up on in there, and then we can select from that to go to a milestone.
Sure. Well, what I was suggesting is actually even more beyond that, meaning there are things that's like maybe a little bit more long term, so you could actually put it in like a later milestone. And for things that you think we could get to in the next milestone, you put it in the next milestone, right? It's to your point, essentially right now we're treating the next, not the current milestone, but we're treating the next milestone still as be next, right?
Right.
And I get your point. It's like we're repeating. Sure. If that's the case, then let's create more milestones and then put stuff in a future milestone
Yeah.
where it's applicable,
Yeah, that also works. Yeah.
right? Um,
Uh, on that note, Sartesh, can you review the PR that I have up? Uh,
The
external data status
yeah,
thing.
I'll review it again.
Uh, yeah, and I'll push for the delete operation to see like if we can agree on the design. Or at least, do you think we should implement the design that we have already and then follow up with the other restrictive stuff in the from the validating webhook configuration to VAP generation to make sure the scope of the changes remain gradual?
Sorry, repeat that again, Jay. I didn't
So
understand.
for the VAP operation design, right? Like we agree on the design that we have so far.
Yeah.
The figuring out part is to how do we support like one-to-one operation of or one-to-one restriction of validating webhook configurations to VAP, and that part isn't going to affect the current design that we have right now. So can we just start implementing the one, like I can reach out to the user saying you can just start implementing the
Yeah,
current design while we
Yeah.
figure out the
yeah,
blocking part.
Yeah. And I think we can add the current limitations to the docs so everybody's aware, but then we'll start kind of chipping away from the to make it more realistic, like in a cover the fields.
Okay. So do you guys need to have a second look at the current design or you guys are fine?
I was fine with it last time. Rita, did you want to look at it?
was there any, let me click on the doc. Was there anything that needed my attention or like
Uh,
that I added comments to?
no, I don't recall.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so I think plus one on moving forward with what you have already. And then also I noticed sometimes we also keep rolling over it, like issues or PRs because they're too big, right? If we could break it down into smaller tasks, that might also help, right? Because then you can say, I'm only going to tackle this task, but everything else goes to the next release. That may be help.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about you take a first stab at what you think you can finish for this current milestone and then move everything else
Yeah.
to a future milestone. And then we can review it together later if you want.
Yeah. I added a
Yeah.
bunch of more milestones, the 4 milestones.
Nice.
Yeah. And do you guys have 5 more minutes?
Go for it.
Sure.
Auto merging depend about PRs. How do we feel about that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think Rita will had concerns.
What kind of PR are you talking about?
The
So right now, like we have Trivi scan, which is like green always, even though it fails, we should turn the knob around and make it fail if it fails. And then if CI passes with all mandatory tasks, then we merge the PR because we don't care about the changes anyways. For depend about.
Okay, so this is just for dependable
Yeah,
PR.
yeah, just for depend about, nothing else.
I guess today we're not really looking at
Yeah, no, nobody looks at it anyway. Like it's just bumps something and then we just merge it. If the CI is green, then why not merge it?
Because it takes half of my Monday at least, like across all 4 repositories, just to merge those
I
Yeah,
see.
PR.
and it just becomes stale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, what would like since we don't even look at it, like
I
what
guess
would be the
if
concern?
it's like if there is like breaking change, it will like CI would block it anyway, right? Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess like I'm just nervous about like if there's like a bad actor trying to merge something bad into it. And but to your point, it's not like today we actually look at every line of change.
We scope it to depend about only. So
I
the
know, but
PR must
even
come
with
from depend.
Dependabot, what if Dependabot rolled out something malicious? It's possible. But my point is, it's not like today when we get the dependent bot PR,
Oh,
it's not like we go line by line and look. For what it's
yeah,
worth, when I do it, I do like at least scan it, like just to look at what the dependency bumps are. But like I don't look at line by line, right?
yeah, that would require a significant amount of time.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah, yeah.
say, I don't know, say a Go dependency is updated, then you go to the Go dependencies, you have to go through their commits and each and every commit that, yeah.
I guess I'm okay. Yeah, as long as CI is gating it. And then I guess like maybe let's make sure just do some kind of scan through the auto merge PRs, like even if it's just like kind of get a feel of what they are. Like, yeah, I know you said Monday morning, right? Like you should still do that. Like even though you may not be looking at every change, but
Yeah.
just knowing what went through is still a good idea by a
Yeah.
human. I trust
Yeah.
you more.
Yeah, yeah, of course, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Then I'll update the CI right now to make all the checks mandatory, and then I already have the auto merge depend about PR insert controller somewhere. So
Okay.
let's start from there.
Okay. Sounds good. Living on the edge.
Yay,
Sorry.
auto merge. No, I'm pretty like okay with auto merge. 'Cause, yeah.
Hey,
All for like the
it takes time for humans to be comfortable with uh bots. So this is just me gradually becoming comfortable. Okay.
this is like your shirt.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
What could go wrong? Seriously.
This is fine.
All right. Okay.
Cool.
Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks, Jay. All right.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ritesh. Bye.
Bye.